All right, welcome back to the Successful Lead Generating Coaches Show. My name is Arfan, and today I'm going to talk about a really important topic. It's one around sales, but more so just about the positioning of your messaging, of your offer from the beginning to the end to work and play onto some sales psychology in terms of buying behavior. Now, I call this the 360-degree buying belief system. And what this stems from is an actual deeper understanding of human behavior, especially how we as people tend to make certain patterns and certain decisions based off of life events that happened to us when we were younger. Yep, we're going to tap into the inner child a little bit, okay? Now, there is a certain belief based off of like when a situation happens, which then leads into a belief and a behavior, and it just sort of repeats over and over and over again. It proves itself true in our lives over and over. Now, this is often taught when there's severe trauma or things like that to help overcome and repair and to be able to get out of that get out of that circle and to start now reclaiming ourselves and understanding and stepping into power, etc. Okay, so I'm not going to dive into that aspect of it, but I want to talk about how this actually plays into your sales and when you're trying to get buyers, trying to get more customers into yourself, into your pipeline, and convert more people from your funnel. Now, I want to talk about myself for a second. The way I started identifying this was really recently, and I started noticing the patterns. And it really stemmed from me when I was about between 9 and 12 years old. I would go grocery shopping with my mom, and I would often see her take her time to look and choose the lowest costing option. This is like a can of beans, picking chicken, beef, meats, whatever the case would be, vegetables, and all these things. Really take time to just like choose and choose and choose something that could maybe save 25 cents or save 10, 15 cents. Now it adds up, and I get it, I understand it because at that time it was needed to be done. However, this really started putting a belief into my system where when I shop, I would often look for the lowest costing route or what would be given the best value, right? Not necessarily just the cheapest item, but the best value. And I'm talking about signing up for college, buying a car, clothing, groceries, even running ads. At the beginning, it was always, well, what's the cheapest campaign? And we know those are engagement. Engagement campaigns typically cost pennies for engagement. And we're these with no success. And it's like, wait a minute, okay, it's not the way to go. So in my case, what happens is that I would spend this extra minutes, hours, sometimes days searching for a lower cost item instead of just purchasing something for what the actual value was. And I didn't recognize that this was a pattern, and I wanted to get off of this 360 belief system. Then I'll say, okay, well, if I'm operating from that way, I potentially am missing out on a lot of opportunities, a lot of experiences, just because looking for a way to get it at a lesser cost rather than getting the item that has the best reviews and is just known for being a coaching program is known for being successful, or a software that provides the tools, works the best as possible. It costs more premium. However, there's another option as an alternative that costs a little less. Spending so much time going about this, right? Now, your customers are also the same way. They're all filtering, making a buying decision through these beliefs that's operating on the back end. And I want to go through because the thing is, everyone's experience is unique, but there are some sort of blanket beliefs that tend to happen in society, especially those who have grown up in the United States, all across the world. There's a lot of these, and the more of this that you can uncover specifically with your ideal client, with your demographic, and you can implement some of these coaching positionings I'm going to give you into your programs, into your emails, into your marketing message, you're gonna start seeing some higher conversions. Okay. And I implement this into my sales process, and I've been told by a lot of coaches, I'm like, my close rate is really good. And it's something naturally just kind of came to me from an understanding based off of my own self. So, we're not looking at this as manipulation, and I hope you don't look at it that way because it's just using just learned psychological things that we that we know from research and from just experiences. Okay, so let's dive through a few of them that I put together. So the first one, this one's called the safety net belief. And this is something where often when someone's growing up and they're hearing, we can't afford to waste money. Make sure you save for a rainy day. And maybe you've heard this yourself. So maybe they've watched their parent argue about bills or scramble when an emergency comes, and little or big emergencies. There's a statistic that most people cannot afford to pay $1,000 if they were to have $1,000 emergency hit. And I don't know the exact percentages. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. Anyways, so growing up in this environment, what ends up happening is that now as an adult, the buying pattern is very cautious. They're cautious with every purchase. They're looking to avoid risk, second guessing decisions, and lean towards the safe option. They're gonna read the refund policy a few times before hitting buy because they want to know if they purchase this and they have to get out of it, that they want to know that they're safe to do that. Okay, so your positioning here is to highlight the risk reversal and security. You want to make your guarantees bold. If you have a membership, offer trial periods. Emphasize that your investment is safe here. If it's a course with a money back guarantee in 30 days or X amount of days, and frame the program as a just a really smart, secure choice that protects their future, or that's going to be an investment into their future rather than risking their future, right? That is what's going to help to create that safety net. And this is a very common one. I hear a lot of coaches talk about having a really great a refund policy. What we're talking about right here is just incorporating it into your message because it's going to lean towards that safety net. We want to let them know, we want to make it feel like, hey, this is a safe option. It's safe to work with me. It's safe to work with my agency. It's safe to purchase my course because there's a refund available for it, etc. All right. The next one, and this one is it's very, very covert, and this is the prove yourself belief. Okay. And this is where someone that typically will be in an environment where it's you hear that you better be your best. Always, try and do your best, or you not even try and do your best, but you better be your best. Not even trying, you have to be. And where it's only getting praise for achievements, where it's like the A's are rewarded, nothing else are rewarded. You only rewarded if you score. You don't get any. There's no reward for even playing the game. So what happened is that there's a worth, a self worth that's tied towards performance. Now, as an adult, this is where chasing achievements can sometimes come into play, but this is also evident in like certifications, credentials, proof that they're legit. And they're gonna ask something like, will this program give me something that I can show for it? And this is where you see some programs where they give awards, and like ClickFunnels, for example, gives the Two Comma Club awards. There's other programs that give these awards, and people love that. They chase that because it really comes from a lot of this internal beliefs that were developed when they were much younger. Okay. And if you recognize any of this in yourself, like you're not alone. This is like you're like I see you, I know you, I am you in a sense, and in a lot of these ways. Because again, I shared mine from earlier. That's just one of them. There's multiple that we have. We're not operating just from one lens. We may be operating from multiple lenses of these and the different scales or different intensities, for even lack of a better word. So again, knowing this, right? If you're coaching, if it's possible in your coaching or in your course to package your offer around achievement markers, whereas you get a certificate of completion when you hit a milestone. Kajabi does this, for example. You hit a milestone. System.io, when you hit a certain milestone, you get a little reward. You get a little performance incentive. So what happened is that this is going to be a visible result that they can show off. And it speaks to this program won't just help you grow, it'll give you the recognition you've been craving your whole life. That achievement recognition. Okay. So that's the proof yourself belief. The next one is the belief of don't get burned. Now, this is a little bit deeper, especially for those who've, the imprint has really happened when um they trusted someone when they were younger, and that could be a parent, a teacher, a friend. Very much so often parent. However, it could be a parent, a teacher, a friend, and they felt a level of betrayal, or they felt betrayed, or they were let down or disappointed, And what happens is that now, as an adult, there's a lot of skepticism, so they don't trust marketing hype. They think like it's really where if you like they think that every coach is a scammer until proven otherwise. They'll ask a lot of questions, which is more coming from like a skeptical place. It's like very skeptical questions. And this is something I see a lot too when advertising about Facebook ads. Sometimes I see people comment, and I already know like they're coming from this don't get burned. They've been burned before somewhere along the way. They were disappointed along the way, and now there's just a just high level of skepticism, and this pattern is gonna repeat over and over again. So the way this can be done is when the coaching position is lead with transparency, and it's something that I do a lot. I share a lot of screenshots. I try to do a lot of case studies, testimonials, because I know there is just naturally the crowd that I attract. If I if they do have this belief, is going to show very, very quickly, very, very evidently from the first few moments I get on a sales call to all the way to the proposal, etc. So we want to lead with transparency, show behind the scenes, share the screen, do a case study, get testimonials. You want to acknowledge the skepticism out loud, right? And I do this to my message. Like I tell them, I know you've probably been burned by an agency before. Similarly, you want to tell them, I know you've probably been burned before. So here's why this is different. And that vulnerability, and I've witnessed this a lot, what it does, that vulnerability disarms their wall. And I've been on countless sales calls where I've come across those who've been burned, and it's very legit belief. Like it's not something that we're like none of these are false, none of these are wrong in any way. All these are they're just what they are, and that's it. And it's someone's truth, and absolutely it's perfectly fine and understandable. So I seen and just being able to like share things where I'll share my screen off the bat. Right off the bat, I'm like, hey, let me share something with you. And I'll go into an ad account and I'll share this is what we're doing, this is what the results are, and this is how we got here. I'll back it up. Let me go back a whole year. This is where we started. These were all the different campaigns that were in place. Now compare this to your ad account. You have three campaigns. You ran ads for like that's it. That's all you have. I'm showing you a campaign over a course of a year with dozens of campaigns where we're testing and tweaking and optimizing. Like, do you see now why you didn't get the results? And what it does is those layers of skepticism starts to go down. Okay, so think about how you can incorporate that for those who, again, they've been burned and it's coming from that belief. They're already a highly skeptical person, and not from just because of what you're pro. It's just an innate type of lens that they're operating through. Okay, the next one, and this is a very, very common one too as well, and this is the hard work equals worth belief. Understanding that like when you work hard, that's where your value comes from, working hard. So typically this is from someone who's around, typically like they saw their parents working two jobs, just really just like nail biting, sweating, sacrificing, and the message was that the only way to succeed is through struggle. The only way to succeed is through doing things hard, going the hard way, going headfirst through the wall is one of them, right? So the buying pattern essentially is if your offer sounds too easy or like a shortcut or like it's just very, very overly simple, they don't buy it. It's like it's too good to be true. That's really what it is. And they want to really feel like you're working hard. Otherwise, they don't think it's legit. Like it almost comes off like, hey, if I'm joining a mastermind, not something where it's just airy, feely mastermind and the coach isn't very involved. Like it's gonna be a hard, hard sell. Versus where the person's like, oh, this person's really involved. Like I see what they're doing, what they're putting inside of it, and it's something that like they're putting in a lot of hard work, and that automatically gives that belief that they're more going to be able to fit to join this program because it naturally fits with their imprint. Okay, so again, with the positioning of this, it really starts off with just positioning your program as like there's structured effort. Like you want to emphasize that there's discipline, accountability, and there's a challenge of the process, right? Really remind them like, hey, this is like I'm breaking this down simple so you can understand it, but just understand that when you're going through this process, It's not going to be just one, two, three, boom, millionaire. Like it takes energy, it takes time, it takes effort. That reality and that vulnerability, that just given that truth of like what the actual process is, it'll help them to also like feel proud of the grind, because there is that innate feeling of that, you'll earn every step, but with the guidance you won't waste years. That doesn't mean it's going to be, super simple or easy. It's just that like you're going to save time and save energy, but you're going to be earning every step because you're really going to be giving in and putting in quite a bit. Okay, so that's the hard work. Hard work equals worth. And there's a belief that many, many, many of us have, right? Like I ask a room of 20 people and I'll probably see maybe 10, 12 hands, easily 15 hands go up with this belief that comes up. Okay. The next one I have is the belonging, right? The belonging belief. And typically this is from someone who where they really were probably like not really like part of like the it crowd, or like the popular crowd in a sense. Even in their home, maybe they kind of felt like they almost didn't belong. And what happened is that they felt like they had to earn love, earn acceptance just at home, and they really just craved belonging. And it was all this of having to really, you know, had to do things or so, right? So in an adult, they're drawn to community-based offers because it gives that sense of belonging. They want to feel like they're part of something bigger that is not just like an individual or solo program, and they'll pay more for connection rather than the curriculum itself. And this is actually one of the beliefs that actually puts values of group programs. Often there's a misconception that a group program should cost less than the one-on-one offer. And in a lot of cases, that may not be true, because it does take a lot more time, effort, and energy to run a group program, even for the individuals inside of it. And this actual belief is one of the things that proves and shows that you could actually charge the same or even more for a group program, because what you're really selling there is community, something bigger than just self. And it doesn't it like it you really sell that, moving away from isolation and into being part of something bigger, and it's more so than just the curriculum or what you're going to be teaching, or the actual end goal that someone's going to get from this. Okay, so again, like, I think I mentioned this already. So sell the community as much as the content is a big portion. Think of like if you're doing a webinar and you have a slide on the community, and sometimes you put it as a bonus. Like, hey, it's a bonus community. Like, no, make it as part of the program. Like, talk about that for 2, 3 minutes, because there's a lot who actually have this belief of belonging. And just know, like, hey, you like, for example, position, like, you won't just get tools. You join a group of people who get you, who are on the same path as you are, who are looking to do the same thing. You get this hive mind experience, and from past group programs, some of our students have become friends. Like they're doing business together, partnering programs. This is what's gonna really make it so much to be able to overcome that belief and help to increase sales. You're highlighting the peer support, the private calls, the live calls, the connection that's being built. And what happens is that now anyone that has this belief is overcome. It's like, oh, okay, this fits my sense of belonging, and it really, 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 really helps to increase conversions. Next, and I want to give just two more. There's one that is like an instant gratification belief. One thing's instantly, and this is often where in the growing up, someone, anytime they cried, they got candy. Anytime they fussed, a toy. Anytime there was a little anything going on, there was some kind of quick reward. There was never any like, hey, you fuss, you cry. You gotta figure out, you gotta deal with it. No, it was always some sort of being quickly, uh, really just some reward, right? I don't want to use any other word because it could probably sound terrible. I'm gonna stick with a reward. And as an adult, they're impulsive buyer. And this is also me in a lot of ways. And like I said, we operate from multiple lenses of this, right? So this is This is one of my instant gratification. Like I can be a very impulsive buyer. And when I was younger, I was very well attended to. If I needed one anything, I had aunts, cousins, and all these people around me to really just give me some sort of quick reward, which is often the food. And some of you know I went on a really intentful weight loss or weight release journey over the year, and really working to overcome some of these beliefs that were just like programs in my brain and systems I was operating from that I didn't even realize. So this one right here is another big one. Again, if someone's used to that quick reward, they're impulsive buyers. They want results like yesterday, not today, not tomorrow. They want it already, right? So if they don't see progress in the first week, they're looking this like, okay, this program's not working for me. I'm out. I gotta get something. It's the course is not it. Membership is not it. This mastermind is not it, and they're looking to exit, they're looking to leave, they're looking to get a refund or whatever the case may be. So, and the positioning is we want to give some quick upfront wins. And this is often where bonuses come in that you can give them something very quick, like, hey, you signed up today, you also get my 5 day template, my 5 day cash injection template or some or example like that where it comes in. If it makes sense. I'm just giving some random example here. So you really want to structure your program so they could see some sort of immediate result in week one. Even if it's small, we want to be able to get some sort of win and not have the feeling of it takes 2, 3 weeks just to even get some sort of small win. And really, what it's going to be is that once you get to that first initial win, then you sell the long term transformation once they're already emotionally hooked. Okay. But it's very important to start off and get that win off the gate versus waiting or designing the program to fit that later on. And then in the selling process, communicating that too as well. Hey, by week one, after 1 week in this program, you're already going to be able to get XYZ or X. Okay. Now, this isn't going to be something that's a false promise. It's going to be something that's intentfully designed into the program and can help to, again, maximize conversions. Hope you can see so far when you combine these different things, I've given you 6 of them so far, 6 beliefs, that when you combine this into your program, you're now overcoming a lot of innate objections that your ideal client's going to have. Okay. They're going to have these objections in one way or another. And the more you can overcome objections, the more people are going to be off the fence and into your actual program. That's going to be signing up, filling out applications, getting on calls, you name it. Okay. Now, the last one right here, this is I call this like the analytical person, and it's like they're a very analytical belief person. So it's really like what it is that details equal safety, and it's a belief they have, right? So for example, like they watch their parents analyze every purchase, and this is me. This is my example I gave earlier. This is the one, the details equal safety, because I watched my mom analyze every single purchase, the clip in the coupons, seeing which is the one that's going to be lesser costing, debating the pros and cons. And what it became is that, and I am a very analytical and detailed person, hence I have a Facebook advertising agency. So what starts happening now is that, again, details equal safety. The more details I could have, the more numbers, the more analytics, the more you could break something down for me, the more likely I'm going to say yes. The more likely I'm going to be like, I'm going to feel like this is a safe decision to make, because I'm not now overthinking it, or like, hey, is there another or a better option, or am I getting a good value or not? A number of things. Now, for everyone, the things that they're looking for may be a little different. For me, it's often comes down to like, is this going to be a good value? So for someone else, it may be something totally different. Like they may be that they really want to get all the details so they could work out their pros and cons and feel if this is the best way for them to make a decision, or if it aligns for them. Okay, so it's gonna be a little different for everyone, but nonetheless, it's just an overarching umbrella of the belief. So in adults, what this really comes down to is, again, they won't buy unless they see all the facts, all the modules, all the bonuses, and the entire breakdown of the value. And it's something that was taught a lot. You want to give the entire value breakdown, the value stack, right? So this is the person who needs the entire value stack. And that's me. I can raise my hand and be like, yep, that's me. If you give me a value stack, you're probably increasing your chance of a conversions. Um, and it's great. I love value stacks too. I love actually creating those as well. So your coaching positioning is where is you're gonna create over detailed sales pages, and what this means is that when you're actually now breaking down your modules and things like that, you want to really break it down at a really, really high level so that way the details is there. Think of it from that lens of that person. If you can just for a second, just again, like the example I gave of just like observing that, just think of it from that. Like observe your sales page, absorb, just look at whatever checkout page you have, and look at it from that lens. If someone is a very detailed analytical person that has belief of details equal safety, do you have enough details for that person to say, yep, I'm going to make a decision to purchase? Okay. So you want to spell everything out, break down the math of if you have something that's a $6,000 value for only 2,000, well, we want to see that the itemized of why is a $6,000 value, and then of course slash it off, boom, 2,000, and showcase like comparisons, and of course, you want to let them know again that they're making a smart, informed decision, and it's a great value. That's ultimately what it comes down to. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful to you. Took me a bit to put this together. As a matter of fact, it was years in the work because I had to uncover this into myself first before I was even able to articulate this in any kind of way. So this has been helpful. This resonates with you if you understand this, and also if you identify with any of these beliefs and you're like, "Hey, Arfan, I'm the safety net. I'm the safety net." I would love to know. Just let me know. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Share this with somebody. And if you need support in your advertising, you have a launch coming up, you have an evergreen offering, and looking to really add the gas to your marketing, let's schedule a call. Let's hop on one of my complimentary Scale with Ads call, and let's take a look at what you have, come up with a crystal clear blueprint for helping you to get an ad strategy that's going to give you a consistent return on investment. Just go to www.arfanhussein.com/start. Click on the little button there, and you're going to be able to fill out a short application, choose your time, and we'll be able to set a time for us to meet and discuss that. And if it's a great fit for me and my team to help you, I'll let you know. If not, I'll say, hey, you take the strategy and run with it. It's all yours. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in and listening today, and I will catch you on the next episode. Bye bye.